Lee Harvey Oswald, the enigma behind a national tragedy. Oswald, a name that has been etched into the history books as the man accused of assassinating President John F. Kennedy. But who is he really? Was he a lone gunman, a pawn in a larger conspiracy, or a man whose life took a dark and unexpected turn? This is the story of Lee Harvey Oswald, a man whose life was as complex and mysterious as the events he's associated with. Early life. A troubled beginning. Lee Harvey Oswald was born on October 18, 1939, in New Orleans, Louisiana. His father, Robert Edward Lee Oswald, died of a heart attack just 2 months before Lee was born, leaving his mother, Marguerite, to raise him and his 2 older brothers alone. Oswald's childhood was unstable. His mother moved frequently, causing him to attend multiple schools and struggle to form lasting friendships. By the time he was a teenager, he had developed a reputation for being withdrawn and temperamental. As a child, Oswald displayed a keen interest in reading, particularly history and Marxist literature. At the age of 15, he declared himself a Marxist, a belief that would shape his actions and decisions later in life. A notable fact about Oswald's early years is his intelligence. Despite his erratic behavior, he scored above average on IQ tests. However, his social struggles often overshadowed his academic potential. By the age of 16, Oswald dropped out of high school and joined the U.S. Marine Corps at 17. This decision marked the beginning of a series of events that would ultimately define his life. Adulthood, a life marked by turmoil. Oswald's time in the Marines was marked by contradictions. On one hand, he was trained as a sharpshooter. On the other hand, his performance was inconsistent, and he often clashed with his superiors. His fascination with Marxism also made him an outsider among his peers. In 1959, Oswald shocked those around him by defecting to the Soviet Union. He declared his allegiance to communism and even renounced his U.S. citizenship. However, life in the Soviet Union didn't go as he had envisioned. He worked in a factory in Minsk and married Marina Prusakova, a Russian woman. Despite his initial enthusiasm, Oswald became disillusioned with the Soviet Union and returned to the United States with his wife and their young daughter in 1962. Back in the U.S., Oswald struggled to find stability. He moved between jobs and became increasingly vocal about his political beliefs, even attempting to establish a pro-Cuban group in New Orleans. In 1963, Oswald purchased a rifle and revolver under an alias. These weapons would later play a central role in the events of November 22, 1963. The Kennedy assassination. A nation in shock. On November 22, 1963, President John F. Kennedy was assassinated in Dallas, Texas. Within hours, Lee Harvey Oswald was arrested and charged with the murder of both President Kennedy and a Dallas police officer, J.D. Tippit. The evidence against Oswald included the rifle found in the Texas School Book Depository, eyewitness accounts, and his connections to Marxist and pro-Cuban activities. However, Oswald denied all charges, famously stating, "I'm just a patsy." 2 days later, while being transferred to another jail, Oswald was shot and killed by nightclub owner Jack Ruby. His death added fuel to the conspiracy theories that have surrounded the Kennedy assassination ever since. Legacy. A life shrouded in mystery. Lee Harvey Oswald's life and actions remain one of the most debated topics in modern history. The Warren Commission concluded that Oswald acted alone in assassinating President Kennedy. However, many Americans believe there was more to the story, with theories ranging from CIA involvement to a larger political conspiracy. Oswald's legacy is one of infamy and intrigue. He is remembered not for his life, but for the pivotal moment that changed American history forever. 10 questions everyone asks about Lee Harvey Oswald. Who is Lee Harvey Oswald? Lee Harvey Oswald was a former U.S. Marine accused of assassinating President John F. Kennedy on November 22, 1963. Why did Lee Harvey Oswald assassinate JFK? Oswald's motives remain unclear, but his Marxist beliefs and dissatisfaction with U.S. policies are often cited as potential reasons. Did Lee Harvey Oswald act alone? The Warren Commission concluded that Oswald acted alone, but many conspiracy theories suggest otherwise. What was Oswald's connection to the Soviet Union? Oswald defected to the Soviet Union in 1959 and lived there for nearly 3 years before returning to the U.S. Was Oswald trained as a sharpshooter? Yes, during his time in the U.S. Marine Corps, Oswald received training as a marksman, though his skills were considered average. What was the rifle used in the assassination? Oswald used a Mannlicher Carcano rifle, which he had purchased under an alias. What did Oswald mean by "I'm just a patsy"? Oswald claimed he was being framed for the assassination, though he provided no evidence to support this claim. What happened to Oswald after his arrest? Oswald was shot and killed by Jack Ruby 2 days after his arrest, while being transferred to another jail. What role did Jack Ruby play in the story? Jack Ruby, a Dallas nightclub owner, killed Oswald in front of live television cameras, adding to the mystery surrounding the case. Why is Lee Harvey Oswald significant? Oswald's alleged role in the assassination of JFK changed the course of American history and remains a subject of intense debate and investigation. Lee Harvey Oswald was a man whose life took an extraordinary and tragic turn. Whether he acted alone or was part of a larger conspiracy, his name will forever be tied to one of the most pivotal moments in American history. His story is a reminder of how a single individual can shape the destiny of a nation and leave behind questions that may never be fully answered.